good.
No smoking.
Okay.
No smoking.
Yeah.
But blood pressures are fine.
Potters are full of pottery myths and voodoo, as far as I'm concerned. Some people think you shouldn't pull with a sponge or a tool. Some, just got to use your fingers. That's the natural way to go. Some people think you shouldn't use any heat or flame on your pot. God bless them. So what? I do everything it takes to make the pot. And I will dry this out here because I want to pull this. I want to pull this as thin as I can, and don't want it going off center when I'm working on the rim of the pot. I also use the masonite bats because if you can imagine the plastic bats in heat, you're not going to get many uses out of them. So.
Let it dry a little bit and put it back on.
Yeah, well, but with my luck, the wind would be blowing through the studio and one side is going to be dry and the other one won't be. And besides, this is immediate. We wouldn't be Raku people if we weren't into immediate gratifications.
Not fast, it's not playing with that,
Okay, one more pass here to get any little bumps out of it. Now I'm bending this and cupping it to the shape of the pot. And if you're going to wipe this off and get the clay off it, wipe away from the sharp surface and do not reach up here and do this, because that's where you end up with fish gills on your fingers. I've gotten in the house and looked at my fingers and it looked like my finger had gills, and it's because I had been wiping the thing down. I usually have a towel right beside my wheel that I wipe the steel rib on all the time. Okay, all the way to the bottom. Last chance to get some shape to it.
So you don't try to dry it on the inside as well,
No.
just the out.
Okay, I'll dry this out pretty good now because I'm mostly done with this part of the shape. B-mix dries out pretty well. Certain clays take a torch better than others, and B-mix and Moon White from High Water and several others work pretty good. Okay, now for the closing in ceremony. What I'm doing on the inside is I'm just holding my fingers here and I'm rolling it over for my fingers for support so it doesn't collapse. Once you turn the corner on the rim, then you're able to, I can pull inwards. If you tried to collar it in, it'd start buckling, but if you turn the rim inwards, then you can start manipulating it inwards more without buckling the pot. See, I've left clay in here so I can very gently get in here with my fingertips and close this in some. One of the tools that I use at this point, it seems like a moist wooden rib, nothing with drips of water on it. If you get a drip of water on this drier pot, it will erode, it'll put an erosion channel in the pot on the surface, and it'll never, no matter what you do, it'll never be, it'll have a streak in it. even when you get your sidge on. So I try to keep my hands drip free at this point, a lot of toweling off, wiping down. Use this here, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of friction to it, so it really helps when you're collaring in a piece. I'm not going to belabor. I could color this in further, but I'm not going to belabor the point here. One of the ways to avoid cracks is if you have a very sharp edge on the rim of your pot versus a rounded edge like I just put on there. A rounded edge does not crack doesn't have the potential for cracking that a sharp squared off edge would have. If you have a piece of pottery that you think you're going to either put ferric chloride or a different color on the rim, if you push up on the clay and run it up against the heel of this right here, it gives you a surface that you can tape to or glaze to or wax to. If I didn't raise that up a little bit, you couldn't put tape on it very easily. I've tried that. It doesn't work as easily. So I will raise up a little bit of a heel there for a differentiation in height. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do here is try to get any kind of streaks or any kind of marks out of it. Remember, this is going to be Terra Sidge, so the smoother the pot, the better. Okay, just before I shut it off, I throw the bottom of the pot the thickness that I want the bottom of the pot to be. So I don't leave a half an inch and then trim like crazy. The bottom of my pot may be about this thick, relative to the thickness of the final pot down in that area. So I already have established the thickness of the pot within like an 1/8 inch for trimming or something like that. So I don't want the wire as I pull through to ride up and take the bottom out of my pot. So instead of leaving this flat surface down here, I'll get in under here and establish a channel for the wire to go in underneath the pot so it'll stay close to the wheel head. And now it's done. So anyway, that's a very quick example of how to make a smooth, somewhat roundish pot.